Hi everyone, I'm Tom Colohue and my devil horns are finally coming through. Today we're going to talk about last night's Smackdown, which really raised a lot of questions about Edge's role in all this to me, real questions about the face-heel dynamic going on with him and Daniel Bryan, and what the future is for the Wrestlemania main event. With Wrestlemania so close, a spoiler warning is in effect on this video as well, as I will be talking about rumours going into Wrestlemania. Before we get to that, please do take a moment to click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, 60% of my viewership have not, please do remember to click that button to get the newest information and the newest reviews as soon as possible. SmackDown opened with a very necessary Daniel Bryan promo. Essentially, Daniel Bryan had to establish himself as a threat to Roman Reigns when for several months he's basically booked himself into losing matches. He did almost specifically mention this, but not going as far as mentioning that he was actually on the creative team who made the decisions to push certain people such as Nakamura and Cesaro. Bryan would be interrupted by Roman Reigns, who would come down with Jey Uso. After a brief promo from Roman, Jey would attempt to attack Daniel Bryan and Daniel Bryan would throw him out of the ring. Roman Reigns would do absolutely nothing. Roman Reigns, as we know, does not wrestle on SmackDown. Thus began a very interesting SmackDown in which only one match of quite a number of them lasted longer than 5 minutes. This particular SmackDown was clearly written by a slightly different team because it was entirely made to further certain storylines and the quality of wrestling was not very good. Firstly, we were booked to have a rematch between the Street Profits and Zayn and Corbin. That didn't happen. Instead, Baron Corbin demanded a singles match and essentially they traded off, with Montez Ford taking the pin from Baron Corbin in 2 minutes and then Angelo Dawkins pinning Sami Zayn in 4 minutes. The important part of the storyline here is that Street Profits come out looking good, taking the win at the end, in their build up to the Dirty Dogs, that being Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. However, Baron Corbin also looks very strong indeed. Baron Corbin is being built towards something. There is a reason that the WWE are consistently mentioning his Golden Gloves background. That's all I'll say at the moment, and this is one of the reasons we have a spoiler warning. Carmella fired Reginald, which is a shame because he's the only thing keeping her on TV right now. Dominic Mysterio beat Chad Gable in a match that lasted only 3 minutes. Rey Mysterio immediately afterwards would attack Otis, get some measure of revenge, but would also run away immediately afterwards, literally headbutting the camera in his urge to get away. It's a good continued push for Otis. His new heel turn is playing into this very nicely, but it's a little measure of revenge without Otis being involved in the pinfall at all. Buddy Murphy approached Seth Rollins backstage and attempted to renew their relationship, which broke down pretty hectically in the summer. Seth wasn't interested, except he clearly was, as future segments will tell you. This for me isn't the best use of Buddy Murphy, but it is a use of Buddy Murphy, which we haven't had for a while, so I'm just glad he's back on TV. The second hour draw segment, as has become tradition, featured Sasha Banks, featured Bianca Belair in the only women's match of the night, where Bianca Belair took on Shayna Baszler. Due to the actions of Reginald, who continues his stalking of Sasha Banks, and a distraction on the outside, Bianca Belair was hit pretty hard on a number of occasions. A firm knee, a potential arm injury. It was clearly being built that Shayna Baszler was going to at least be in a dominant position here. However, she was beaten inside 5 minutes, and this is after being beaten inside 3 minutes on Raw. I don't know who Shayna Baszler pissed off, but Vince McMahon seems to have absolutely no faith in her. After the match, we teased the slightest bit of tension between Belair and Banks when Bianca Belair demanded that Sasha Banks take care of Reginald. When it comes to the incoming Sasha Banks heel turn, Reginald may play a factor. Cesaro beat Murphy in about 4 minutes. Well done Murphy for being on TV, we barely knew you. Seth Rollins was on commentary but didn't really get to say much. Corey Graves and Michael Cole really played up the whole "I'm a face, you're a heel, we're commentators" dynamic, and it kind of sucked. Throughout the night we saw 2 vignettes of Big E's return planned for next week. We saw Apollo Crews coming down to the ring with 2 new bodyguards or military fatigue wearing allies carrying a spear. This was a continued step in the evolution of Apollo Crews. He has more personality now than he ever has, and that is a very good thing. But when it comes to Apollo Crews, a lot of people are not taking the character change very nicely. Bayley had less than a minute to host Ding Dong Hello, so she talked about some fake tweets and then walked out. If they can't find something for Bayley to do at WrestleMania, after a year of holding up that women's division, I'm going to be pissed. Finally, in our main event, Daniel Bryan defeated Jey Uso in a cage match with the yes lock really locked in, leaning back so far you could see what Daniel Bryan had for breakfast. I saw more of Daniel Bryan in that moment than I ever thought I wanted to, and no, I definitely didn't want to. This sets up the grand finale, the match between he and Roman Reigns at Fastlane. There are talks at the minute of Daniel Bryan being added to the Edge versus Roman Reigns match in the main event of WrestleMania. However, there is a sizable camp who are clearly of the opinion that Daniel Bryan should just take the loss and move on with his life. SmackDown this week was very good from a storytelling angle. However, from an in-ring wrestling quality angle, it wasn't great at all. So a mixed bag for me. I would give this a C, because that's my mixed bag. None of the matches even reached 3 stars for me, let alone approaching 5, apart from the cage match, which had 2 commercial breaks inside it, and it's the only one that lasted more than 5 minutes. And even then, the cage match was just a lot of guys being tossed back and forth. Daniel Bryan was tossed, Jey Uso was tossed, everyone was tossing. It wasn't a great SmackDown. The big question mark for me is about Edge, who didn't appear. Edge of course did say in interviews that he was going to be at every show in the build-up to WrestleMania, and now he doesn't even make the one show where his champion is that he is challenging. For me, Edge is losing his way and becoming less and less of a face as tension continues to be teased with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, yes, is moving towards a heel turn, but that might be abandoned if the people turn on Edge, and I for one am kind of already doing that. Let me know what you thought of SmackDown down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe, click like as well, that's a big help to me in helping me grow. Thank you everyone who has watched so far and everyone who came to the watch party on Twitch. I've been Tom Colohue, apologies for the hair, and have a very good day.